Do you want to add speech to your Raspberry Pi Pico MicroPython projects? Then this is the show for you. But first, let's go back in time. Picture the scene. It's January 24, 1984, the Flint Center for Performing Arts in Cupertino, California. Steve Jobs has taken to the stage, he's just taken the Apple Macintosh out of the bag, and he's let the computer introduce itself.
Hello, I am MicroPython. It sure is great to get out on that Mac. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I'd like to share with you a maxim I thought of the first time I met an IBM mainframe. Never trust a computer you can't lift. Obviously, I can talk, but right now I'd like to sit back and listen. So, it's with considerable pride that I introduce a man who seemed like a father to me. Kevin McAleer. Like, subscribe.
Hey robot makers, learn with me as we build robots, bring them to life with code, and have a whole load of fun along the way. This software was called McAleer, and it was written by Mark Barton, and he had written some software called Software Automatic Mouth for the Commodore 64 back in 1980. Before we look at the code, I want to explain how Sam actually converts English text into audio, because it's genuinely fascinating, and understanding this will make the later parts of the video make a lot more sense. Sam works in 3 stages. There is the reciter, the phoneme processor, and the renderer. Stage 1 is the reciter. This takes plain English and converts into phonemes. Phonemes are the fundamental units of sound in spoken language. The reciter has over 200 context-sensitive rules to handle this conversion, and English, as we know, is full of exceptions. The rules look up the letters before and after a given letter to work out the sound it should make. Stage 2 is the phoneme processor. This takes the phoneme codes and converts them into something called frame data. It applies transformation rules, handling diphthongs, which are the sounds that glide between 2 vowel positions, inserts breath sounds, and manages stress and rhythm. This is where the speech starts to sound more natural and less robotic. And stage 3 is the renderer. This part actually generates the audio samples. It uses a technique called formant synthesis, where you simulate the resonant frequencies of the human vocal tract. 3 formants, 3 overlapping waves combine to produce the sound of a vowel. Consonants are handled differently using pre-sampled bit-packed data. So we have a bit of a problem. The renderer, stage 3, involves lots of maths, lots of it. Multiplying operations, lookups, wave arithmetic, running thousands of times per audio frame. And MicroPython, for all its brilliance, is not fast at maths. So I struggle with this for quite a while. There is lots of different ways that we can solve this problem, and one of them is by writing a native C module that we can include within our MicroPython library, and that can just do the maths bit for us. It's not really cheating, it's just a way of making our code actually work. Let's compare the different techniques side by side. And here's the really beautiful part. This isn't just a modern trick. The original Commodore 64 had the exact same problem in 1982. No hardware multiply instructions. Mark Barton's solution was elegant, and we actually borrowed that directly for our porting of this code into MicroPython. So when I first got Sam running in pure MicroPython on the Pico and generated Hello World, it took 1900 milliseconds, nearly 2 seconds, for the 2-syllable phrase. You'd be able to read a novel in the time it takes to say the words good morning. So not really usable. So adding MicroPython's native decorator, which compiles the functions to native ARM machine code rather than bytecode, brought that down to about 1200 milliseconds. It's better, but it's still over a second for 2 words. The real breakthrough came when writing a hot render loop using a native C module, a 296-line C file that implements the exact same render logic compiled as an MPY file native to MicroPython that can load dynamically. I want to spend a moment on this because it's one of my favourite pieces of engineering in the whole project. It connects what Mark Barton did back in 1982 directly with what we're doing today. The renderer needs to multiply 2 values together repeatedly, a sine wave amplitude by a volume level. On modern hardware this is trivial, a single instruction, but the 6502 which is what the Commodore 64 had no multiply instruction. And on a microcontroller running MicroPython, even Python multiplication in a tight loop is slow. The solution is called a lookup table. Instead of computing the multiplication, you compute every possible result and store it in a table. Then at runtime, you just do a table lookup instead of a calculation. In SAM, this is the mult table. It packs a 4-bit sign value and a 4-bit amplitude value together in a single byte index. This gives you 256 possible combinations, which fits into a 256 byte lookup table, 1 byte in, 1 byte out. Mark Barton embedded this table directly in the 6502 assembly in 1982. We embed the same table directly in our C module today. It's the same trick, 40 years apart on completely different hardware, and that continuity gives me a little sense of joy. It's a reminder that good engineering solutions do not have an expiry date. Right, let's talk about hardware, and I've got really good news. This is one of the simplest circuits you'll build for an audio output. You only need 3 things for this minimal setup: a Raspberry Pi Pico, an optional resistor, and a speaker or piezo buzzer, and that's it. I find these little speakers to be absolutely perfect. They've got a little pair of jumper cables on them. We simply connect the black cable to ground and the red cable to GPIO pin 0, and it's as simple as that. And these cost next to nothing. So the circuit is GPIO 0 through the 1K resistor. Again, this is optional, just smooths out a bit of the pops and clicks you might get, to the positive terminal of the speaker, and then the speaker's negative terminal goes to ground. SAM generates the audio as pulse width modulation on the GPIO pin, but the way that it does this is one of the clever parts of the whole project. It uses something called Programmable IO. Now, if you want the clearer audio, less buzzy, more intelligible, there is a slightly enhanced version where they use a RC low-pass filter, a 10 kilo ohm resistor and a 10 nanofarad capacitor, and this filters out the pulse width modulation carrier and leaves just the audio signal. But to be honest, I found that you didn't need this at all. For better results, add a small audio amplifier, something like the PAM8403 module or an LM386. Couple that with a 14mm speaker, and the speech becomes quite a bit clearer. But honestly, the minimal 1 resistor setup is understandable. So no dedicated digital to audio or DAC converter, no I to S module, no expensive hardware, just a GPIO pin and some PIO magic. So I mentioned Programmable IO. This is generally one of the most interesting things about the Raspberry Pi RP2040, the chip inside the Raspberry Pi Pico. And it's absolutely crucial to how SAM works with the audio so cleanly. So let me explain why. So when playing audio, timing is everything. Each sample needs to arrive exactly at the right moment. If the timing drifts or stutters, you'll hear it as clicks and pops or distortion. Now in MicroPython, the CPU is busy doing lots of other things running your code, managing memory, doing garbage collection, cleaning up old memory that's no longer needed. So you cannot guarantee that the CPU will be free at the exact moment, the exact microsecond that you need to push out the next audio sample. So this is where PIO comes in. The RP2040 has 8 Programmable IO state machines. These are tiny independent processors that have their own programs separately from the main CPU. They have their own clock, their own instruction set, they execute with cycle accurate timing, no jitter, no interruptions. So what makes the RP2040 special for projects like this? On an ESP32, SAM has to fall back to a timer interrupt that fires thousands of times a second to push each sample out. That works, but it ties up the CPU and the timing is never quite as precise. On the Pico, the PIO handles this perfectly every single time. It's a beautiful bit of hardware and software sort of co-design. The CPU does the clever maths, the PIO handles the precise timing, and the DMA connects the two together without one having to wait for the other. So let's have a couple of demos, shall we, and see how this actually sounds and think about some of the projects we could actually use this for. So let me show you just how simple this is to use. It's literally 3 lines of code. So the first thing we need to do is copy the files across to our Raspberry Pi Pico, and there's a folder that's called SAM. We can simply just copy all that up to our Raspberry Pi Pico. I've already got that installed, so I don't need to do that. Next thing we need to do is type from SAM, import SAM, and then we need to just create an object for this. So we say SAM equals capital SAM and then pin equals 0 because we're using GPIO 0 for our pulse width modulation output. And then we just need to make it say something. So we can say sam.say hello world. And if I run this, I'll hear next to me. I'll put the microphone closer in a second so you can hear this too. He says, hello world. How cool is this? Now, if you want to understand a bit more about what's going on behind the scenes, we can do sam.info, and that will tell us a bit of statistics about what it's using behind the scenes. So this one, we can see down here, sample rate is 22 kilohertz. We can see it's using the native C renderer, that's active. It's using the PIO for the audio driver. And you can see there the speed, pitch, mouth and throat, some of the variables that we can actually change to make our voice sound different. Now there are a number of different voices that we can choose for our robot. So I'm going to go to my demo 2 over here. So you can see over here, we're doing the same kind of thing. We're saying show the info. We can then set the pitch, throat and mouth. We can say I'm a robot. We can then do a high pitch one. We can change the pitch, mouth and throat again and then say that there. And then we've got a number of different voices. Each of them sounds slightly different. So they're all little variants of the main voice there. I like the robot one the best. Now we can actually make this sing. It's not quite there yet. I think this needs a little bit more work. But you can actually pass in the notes that you want it to sing, and then you can make it sing a specific type of phoneme. So you might recognize this from the film 2001. So, not quite there, that one. I think that needs a little bit of extra work. Now, one of the uses I thought would be really cool would be to be able to say the IP address that it's been assigned. For me, this is one of the kind of typical problems I'll come up against when I've got a Raspberry Pi Pico. It's connected to the network. I've no way of reading out what the IP address. If it's got a speaker attached, we can basically get it to say that. So let's give this a go. I'm going to run this. It's going to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Connected to Wi-Fi 268.207.
So let's recap. SAM, a 1982 text-to-speech engine, originally written for the 6502 assembly for the Commodore 64, has been reverse engineered, ported to C, then JavaScript, then Python, and now MicroPython. It runs on a Raspberry Pi Pico with a single speaker. No special hardware. It uses 3 stages to turn English text into audio. The reciter converts the text to phonemes. The phoneme processor converts these phonemes into frame data. The renderer synthesizes audio using formant synthesis, and the whole thing fits inside 22 kilobytes of RAM. Genius. In pure Python on a Pico, it took around 2 seconds to generate a short phrase. With the native C module, it takes around 17 milliseconds, over 100 times faster. And the key trick to making it really fast is this mult-table lookup, the exact same trick that Mark Barton used in 1982 to work around the Commodore 64's lack of hardware multiplier. Retro computing meets modern microcontrollers. A voice from 1982 speaks through a chip from 2021, and you can build the whole thing for around the price of a cup of coffee. If you're going to try this out, I'd absolutely love to see what you've done with it. Drop a comment below, tag me on social media, let me know what kind of projects you're using this for. I'd really like to know that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.